call this philosophy the threshold age. And it typically, in my practice, was about at age 26 to 32. And I would start to see many patients lose their energy, develop the early signs of depression, develop early signs of anxiety. They were a little moody and they were starting to act a little weird. And I would always check the chart and noticed it was happening between ages 26 and 32. I found it to be interesting because my friends also, who were getting into their mid-20s and late 20s at the time, were also starting to act a little more moody than normal and also starting to act a little more weird. And I started to observe everything that was going around me, both within myself, my friends, and my patients, and realized there's a threshold age where people are starting to lose their childhood reserve. It can happen earlier if you've had a very rough childhood, and it can happen a little later if you've been, say, a competitive athlete through college. But either way, I see it over and over again from about ages 26 to 32, where people start to lose their edge. They start to lose their swagger, and they start to lose their fight. What's interesting is when you watch TV and you watch professional athletes in their 40s and 50s, there's many people out there who still have incredible energy, zest, and they're extremely powerful in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And so I think it's worth a thought. Why do so many people, why do the majority of people start to lose their energy and their balanced mood in their late 20s, early 30s? And how are the people that are claiming their lives and creating their moods and keeping total balance, how are they doing it in their 50s? And that was the question that I kept asking myself and kept observing and kept watching and kept asking questions. And I want to share this conclusion with you, the conclusion that I've made for myself, that I've proven with myself, and I'd like to give it to you as a trick for this life. What I've noticed is that we have a childhood energy reserve just based on being young and fresh and being biologically young. We have this reserve of energy, and eventually, if not self-perpetuated or being built using all types of movement, cardiovascular actions, hikes, or intense exercise, it tends to peter off over time, and where it peters off typically is in the mid to late 20s, early 30s. Now, this petering off is natural, but what I've noticed is many people have self-perpetuated their energy so that they never fall off. Instead, they do this for a lifetime. And the thing that keeps them going is cardiovascular exercise 7 days a week. So my philosophy that I want to share today is called 7 days a week or bust. And that is to say that if you are not exercising in some way, this could be a hike, you could walk the golf course, you could do intense things, whatever it is, heavy movement, 7 days a week. Of course, if you're already in a depression and anxiety to build out, you're going to want to do more extensive workouts. But if you're already feeling good to maintain, let's just say 7 days a week of some heavy activity that is not work related. If you're running around your job, I would not call this a cleansing or balancing activity. That's just labor and that's just work. I'm talking about, at the minimum, a walk around the park for an hour, and at the maximum, something like 24/7 on HBO, where the workouts are extremely intense, extremely cardiovascular, and completely competitive. That would be the max. But either way, what I've noticed is it's 7 days a week or bust. And bust usually presents itself as a decrease in energy, an imbalance of mood, strange behavior, and you start to see all of the predictable ailments of those who are not in perfect physical balance. Let's talk about that. What are the predictable conditions or diseases of life? I put quotes because they're so predictable, they shouldn't be called diseases, they should just be called conditions. What are the predictable conditions of life if you don't work out 7 days a week? I will list them for you off the top of my head. I've seen them hundreds of thousands of times, and they're so painfully predictable at this point. I just want you to know them before you get them. Here they are. If you don't work out 7 days a week for the rest of your life, this is what will happen to anyone. And also your immune system becomes less resilient, so you are more at risk for cancer and also autoimmune diseases. If you open up the entire book of Western medicine, it's filled with chronic imbalances. And all these imbalances come from those who will live a working life, sedentary life, not move their body as a priority, and then expect a doctor to kind of patch them up. So, here's my tip to everyone young and old. And it really comes from desire. If you desire a great life, a romanticized life, an idealized life, an exciting life, one that has passion, a passionate life, you have no option than to work out 7 days a week for the rest of your life. That's every single day. If the sun rises and sets from dawn to dusk and you haven't done some sort of heavy physical activity, know that your visions of a passionate and romanticized life will be more difficult to achieve. And that is just the reality. Even if it's not showing currently, eventually it catches up to you. Take a really good look at the 40 and 50-year-olds you know in your neighborhood. Look at them closely. See which ones are falling down the hill and see which ones are maintaining or even rising in their health. And it will always be based on their cardiovascular activity or their sport or whatever else they're doing to generate energy. Because as you get past 30, you can't just rely on your energy reserve from your childhood. Instead, you have to self-perpetuate your energy by building it daily. What's interesting is if you start working out every single day, especially if you do it intensely, you might find a higher level of energy and a higher level of well-being than even you had as a child, because maybe as a child you were sitting around, cooped in too much. And so that's an experiment I challenge you with. Of course, before engaging in any physical activity that is not the norm, you should make sure that you're healthy for exercise, simple blood tests, simple EKGs, and you should always be mindful of all the injuries and joint pains that can come from new types of movement. So we ease into these things, and maybe the first week it's 7 days a week for 10 minutes a day, and then it's 20 minutes, and then it's whatever you need. But the art of evading injury, quickly patching up injury, and also moving around injuries is the art of wellness. So if I hurt my knee, whether it be from old exercises or this new step-up in exercises, I then have to do the arm bike, or I got to swim with my legs tied up, or whatever it is. I got to get around the injuries. And that's the creative pursuit of wellness. So here's the contradiction that I run into. Many people desire wellness. They want wellness. But they're not pursuing wellness. Their actions don't speak as their words do or as their wants do. So if you're someone who desires and wants things in your life, your actions need to at least, if not exceed, your desire. So this video is about action, desire, passion, romanticism, and it all comes down to one simple tip. Cardiovascular workout, 7 days a week or bust. And bust is having every medical ailment ever written in the archives of medicine. And we've seen every single one of them, and they pop up sporadically when you're not in balance. And pursuing this balance is easier said than done. But those who do it are rewarded. I'm turning 37 this month, and I can honestly say that this is the highest energy level I've had since I was 13 years old. So from 14 to 36 was a lowered energy state than I am today. And that did not come by accident. That did not come from making money. That did not just come from chasing my dreams and my passions, which is all great for the mind. It came from 7 days a week or bust. And my workouts are extremely intense these days. I work out every day as a priority, And my philosophy is fitness first and everything else will follow. And that's how I navigate this life. I'm 37 now. I could die at any moment. However, at this time, while I'm alive, I feel great. And I wanted to make this video to share that sense of wellness with you. And I hope you follow me in this philosophy, and you can spread it, and feel free to spread it to those around you who are also suffering from countless ailments and medical diagnoses and all kinds of victimizing labels, that it's 7 days a week or bust, and bust is the medical book. I've been through medical school, was the chief resident in my residency program. I had 8 years of private practice. I've captured a lot of my medical results and my transformations, and this is what I've learned. Sedentary people get the diseases. All the chronic conditions I learned about in medical school, diabetes type 2, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, gout, impotence, depression, anxiety, panic attacks, was all geared to sedentary lifestyles. And at that time, it was assumed that everyone was living a sedentary lifestyle except for the minority who were professional athletes. But these days, people are smarter and more conscious. And now, we're taking care of our own life through action. And so my very simple tip to you is, from dawn to dusk, you'll never miss a day for the rest of your life. You work out 7 days a week, that means every single day, or bust, meaning or expect the worst in regards to your health. That is my tip to you. I have lived it, I have seen it, I see it over and over again. It's so painfully predictable. I hope this video allows you to see a little glimpse of what I've been seeing for decades. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.